Tennessee Homestead. How the heck are you today? Uh, yeah, I have made this thing twice now, and I keep getting just frustrated and ticked trying to get through it. That's it's like, oh man, really? Today I want to talk to you about water. Kind of what's going on out there. And you saw the video on climate change. I hope. Some of you have probably made really, really mad, but I just told you really, really the truth. I'm sorry. But water. That's the crisis that's coming at you. Okay? You hear farmers say, oh, we got to do things this way so we can feed the world. Your time's about up, man. Time's about up. In doing some research for things for the regenerative agriculture, I ran across some stuff and I started checking into it a little more. And I'm going to provide you a link or so down here to take a peek at a couple of videos. The one video just thoroughly kind of ticked me off. But Kansas farmer, grain farmer. Yeah, it used to be if you were a farmer, that was a pat on the back. But you hear people in the Midway, a grain farmer. Tell you a brief story. Everybody, when I had a place up in southern Illinois, a lot of the farmers around now, were just got to go big or go home kind of attitudes, and was complaining about how they wasn't making any money really, and blah 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 blah. And there was a pair of brothers. I guess they were probably in their 70s back then. Okay, these two old boys. And I used to have to drive by them all the time. And I'd see these guys out there in the fields. And I think their tractor was, I don't know, 1950s, something like that. They were farming like, I don't know, 250, 500 acres. I think 500 acres is what it was. And this old tractor, there's more baling wire and duct tape on that thing you could shake a stick at. Just tickled the heck out of me. But back then, you could live pretty good on 60 grand a year. You really could. Okay? And I was talking to him one day. And in fact, I think the guy flagged me down because he needed to ride up to get some diesel fuel and his truck wouldn't start. So I took him up, got some diesel fuel. Came back and was helping tinker with his truck, trying to get it going. His brother was out combining beans. Well, he was way off in the distance, so I wasn't paying much mind to the combine. But when he got closer, I said, what kind of combine is that? Literally had a little bitty, kind of a stand-up seat that you kind of rested against, but you were standing on this platform operating controls. Yeah. Thing had to come out of the 40s or 50s. Old tractor, I said, man, why don't you guys buy some equipment for gosh sakes? And he just laughed. He said, me and my brother found this. He says, we didn't get into all that nonsense they keep trying to sell us. He said, we just farm it like Daddy farmed it and Granddaddy farmed it before us. And he reached down and grabbed up some dirt and held it up. He said, look at that rich black stuff. Beautiful dirt, it really was. He had some soil there though. It wasn't dirt, it was some soil. These old boys, net profit to that farm, 500 acres, okay? Just in grain crops. He said, yeah, when they did their taxes, he said, and it was, heading into tax time again. He said, we'll pull in about 60 grand each. So they're making profit, about $120,000 off 500 acres. Other farmers tell you can't make that kind of money off of that small acreage. And he says, I'm always being told by the county extension to keep screwing up the county's numbers. our outputs are too high. Our yields are a lot better. But it's been farming the same way it was farmed back in the 20s and 30s. Amazing. Other than the fact that I guess they were the beginning of the no-till group because they didn't till their fields at the end of the year or at the beginning of the year. They just knocked the crop down and plant the next one. Funnier than heck, the both of them. 60 grand a year was what they averaged. But like he said, man, we'll work the fields during the day and work on this old equipment at night, but we're not going to spend that money on that equipment. He said, this is my daddy's equipment. Amazing. You ain't gonna see equipment like that out in the fields anymore, folks. But I stumbled across some information about some Kansas farmers. Farmers. Yeah, they are. Grain farmers. That's a different animal all on its own. But these boys were having to irrigate. And the conversation was over this Osceola aquifer was going dry. Yeah. The biggest aquifer system in the world was going dry. I started scratching my head a little bit. Then I had to check this out, Because, Kansas gets a fair amount of rain. Like, huh? So, of course, Kansas is one of them places you can stand on the east side and look clean to Colorado on the other side. It's crazy. That's too much flat for me, man. But anyway, these guys are irrigating their crops. As I'm listening to some of this about them irrigating their crops and how much water they're having to use and how they have to keep re-drilling their wells to go deeper and deeper, and they had some interviews with people living in small homesteads and stuff around there who's saying, we're running out of water. We can't afford to keep re-drilling wells every year. I'm thinking, wow, what the heck is going on there? That aquifer runs from like Texas, clean up in through Nebraska and all that. A lot of water. Okay, biggest one in the world. And it's empty. So I'm thinking, man, is Kansas really that dry? I went and checked. They get about 15 inches worth of moisture from snowfall and another 40 inches in rain. Kind of had me going, huh? Why are they having to pump all this water like they're doing? Then it hit me. Okay, they've been farming that land and playing with the GMO crops and all that for years, man. Years. A lot of big combines out there running. From when I was in the Midwest, a lot of times you'd see when they were bringing in grain, there'd be 8 combines out there just going, Anyway, when I saw how much moisture they got, I was like, good Lord, that's like Tennessee, man. We get about 50 inches of rain a year. But I know that Gabe Brown up there is getting about 20, and he's just knocking it dead. Raises all assorted cash crops and as well as his livestock and so forth. What's going on? So then I really had to look a little closer. And these boys are talking how geologists are telling them they've got another 20, maybe 30 years before you ain't getting nothing out of that aquifer because it's about empty. It's going dry. Now they're still out there pumping water, but it's going dry. Which means a lot of their neighbors don't have water to their houses. They're having to start rain catchment systems, all this kind of stuff. These guys don't care. Now, as a matter of fact, even with the farmers, they're doing a little race to the bottom by seeing who can go the deepest and pump out the most water into their storage tanks so that they can basically steal their neighbor's water so that they can stay in business a little longer than he can. Really. Yeah. And this fun fella standing there in his clean pressed shirt and his Dockers, and he was all dressed up. Of course, if you look at it, you think how he got cleaned up for the video. No, I lived in Illinois. That's their work clothes right there. Got their little laptops going. You know, they have a computer program in their tractor tell them how much fertilizer or what type to drop where based on what their soil needs. Soil. That stuff hadn't been soil in 50 years, but still. How to plant seed has these big computerized planters that get out there and plant seeds in certain areas, certain amounts, and even different seeds for different areas that won't grow that particular variety of seed. You know, so yeah, they're running around there, doctors and penny loafers and you know, stuff of this nature. So, and he's crying, shedding tears, man, crying, because he knows full well that his kids will never get to work the farm. It's over. Going to go bankrupt, and he knows it. So there's nothing we can do about it. Just keep making it as long as we can. And it's a shame my kids won't be able to be on this land. That's when it really hit me. The USDA through SEER, for years now, a lot of years, has been trying to educate farmers of you got to stop doing what you're doing. And you're going to have to start using a regenerative agriculture base if you hope to stay in business. Now, if back then they took that advice and started doing that, okay, they'd be putting water back into that aquifer, not taking it all out. Their soil would have the depth, okay, to pass this water through and refill that. But they haven't. It takes years to get that kind of depth in your soil. A lot of years. Decades. Now in a few years you can get it to where you can grow a crop. You can keep building the soil until as it goes down and cleans up your soil, you can have more water holding capabilities. Things of this nature. But to refill that aquifer, yeah, they needed to start a long time ago. They didn't listen. A lot of farmers did. Guys like Gabe Brown and Joel Salden and so forth. A lot of farmers. These are the well-known ones. That's the reason I'm dropping names. There's some guys up here that switched over to that years ago. There's some brothers, I'm sure they're passed on by now, but the brothers up there in Illinois, they'd been using regenerative agriculture their entire lives because that's all they knew. It's what their granddad and their dad taught them. Smart men. Okay? They're farmers. They're farmers. A lot of these people you see around here are farmers. Gabe Brown, farmer. Uses his head. Pushes the envelope. Okay? And he's killing it. A lot of these guys are. Okay? Then you have the grape farmers. They think they're real smart. And they're getting patted on the back by a lot of Monsanto people and these seed companies and fertilizer companies and equipment companies saying, oh, you're so smart. Look what you're doing. Yep, you buy this expensive piece of equipment, your yields will go up. Not enough to pay for this piece of equipment. That's the part they leave out. Your yields will go up. And all they think, yields. So anyway, this old boy's sitting there saying, my kids will never get to be farmers. Crying. Okay, had to walk away from the camera. Now, I guess some people might have felt sorry for the dude. You go watch the video. You might go, oh, I feel sorry for him. Yeah. I got just ticked. Number one, you piece of, don't call yourself a farmer. You know the first thing about it. You know how to play games on your computer and drive a tractor. You're nothing more than a tractor driver. They're about $9 an hour employees. Not a farmer. farmer doesn't destroy his land. A farmer works his life doing things in a fashion that he can hand his children a better farm than he inherited. Yeah. Have you done that, Mr. Farmer? You're not a farmer, son. You're a fool. And you better gone. Because the day's going to come where somebody goes to their household tap to get a drink of water and can't get it because of your greed. Folks, you better get out there and start talking to your legislators about where are you boys getting any water to run all this irrigation now? Because it's coming out of mine, what's my share? How much are we taking in on this? Because let me tell you what the future is. They're going to fix it. They're going to have to. But they're going to have to bring in new processing plants and filtering plants using river water. And it's highly polluted, so they're going to have to really invest some money so that you can get a drink of water out of your tap. But that's okay. They'll just tax you for it. So these bozos that are draining the aquifers, okay? By the way, they're letting them do it most states free of charge. Just drop your straw down there and go for it. Yeah. They're not going to be paying taxes because they ain't going to be around anymore. Okay? You are. They're sucking the water out of these aquifers. California. Oh, wow. Growing grapes in the desert. Yeah, they are. For wine. Yeah. These wineries are killing it. Yeah, apparently I guess wine sales are way up. Mm-hmm. They've been tapping the aquifer out there for quite a while. To the point, one old boy started putting up signs back in like 1925 of ground level and how much is dropping. Okay. From 1925 to current, the 1925 sign is at the top of a telephone pole. The top of a telephone pole. See, their aquifer's made of clay. And as they drain that water out, it begins to settle. Yeah, as they pump it, clay particles settle to the bottom of the aquifer, filling the bottom up, and the top is slowly dropping. Because there's no water under it. So it keeps dropping level. When it runs out, then they're going to be having to rely on runoff and desalinization plants. And if you don't think your taxes are high enough in California, stand by for that. But hey, you got wine. Yeah, you do. There's a reason I buy California wine, huh? Here, let me help the vineyards out there. You can't grow grapes in the desert, okay? It doesn't work. Okay? I can grow corn in the Mojave Desert or Death Valley if I want to supply enough water. People don't get it. If your land can't support your crop, you don't need to be in there farming. That simple. But this isn't just a problem here in this country. And all these crops are growing in Kansas, they need that for, you think about it, somebody's got to feed us. Yeah? And most of it's exported. You do realize that, right? It's for export. Morocco, same problem. Same problem. They've drained the aquifer. They're losing their shirts out there to grow crops that they primarily export. Ain't that something? India doesn't export now. India imports because their agriculture system has just about collapsed. Worse than that, the water for their public, for their people, has turned into a nightmare. A lot of people surrounding villages are having to go to one little well inside the village so that they all pay to keep making it go deeper and deeper. Peru, same thing, running out of water. sucked up the groundwater. The crops export. I've always said agriculture needs to be local. Local farmers taking care of local people. And that's the way it works. That system works. And that local farmer can work with nature and have a sustainable farm that works. Big ag, like I say, they're not farmers, they're fools. And they've gobbled up all the resources they can. Okay? The damage done to planet Earth by them is staggering. I mean, when you think about it, chemicals they need comes from somewhere. A lot of it's mined, a lot of it's created. And the byproducts of creating some of that stuff is pretty nasty. Really nasty. Okay? Will eat a hole through concrete. So they have fertilizer because they don't understand how nature works. Aquifers worldwide going dry. Why? Because they've used that type of technique on their soils. Their soils are dead. The land's become like a concrete block. It's like trying to grow a crop in concrete. And their water's running off. It is not soaking into the ground and refilling that water table. So when it's done, it's done. And like out in California with the clay-based ones, when it's done forever. Forever. You're not going to bring it back. Boom. This upper crust is going to drop right down and fill the hole. No point in it. You're done. Okay? No more aquifer to go through. So now you're trying to deal with runoff. That's it. We were supposed to be the stewards of the land. And look what they've done. Just look what they've done. Water's your new crisis. Okay? Your kids, if you got young millennials, when they're middle-aged, it's going to be a crisis situation. You don't need to worry about global warming. This one's real. And it's real because some farmer, well, lots of farmers, are sticking with the way to grow, got the big brain opposing thumbs, bigger, better, faster. And they don't care the cost to the future generations. And the cost is going to be steep. Okay? Let me tell you something. You go down to the mighty Mississippi and start drinking some of that water. From the runoff of the chemicals and so forth, you probably won't make it back up the bank before you start losing your cookies and probably dead before you get to your car. When I was back there, they'd tell you, don't eat the fish you catch out of that river. No. A lot of it is industrial and agricultural waste runoff. Folks, we need to wake up. Okay? Need to wake up. Good news is, for you younger guys wanting to get started up, your kids will have a break. There's going to be some cheap land out there for them. Yeah. Because when they kill it, it's done. When they can't water it, they're really done. But like I said, old boy crying alligator tears because his kids wasn't going to get to farm. All I got to say is thank God if they were going to farm like their daddy. We're grateful for you. We really are. And don't call yourself a farmer, mister, because any farmer who tells me he can't grow corn in 50 inches of rain a year, he ain't no farmer. He's a fool. Like John Wayne says, life is hard. It's really hard if you're stupid. It's pretty true, folks. This is Red Tennessee Homestead. I made it through this one without really... But, yeah, grain farmers, gotta love them. But God bless them, there's some good ones out there. I try to focus on people like Gabe Brown whenever I think about grain farmers because he's doing it right. Okay, he's out there doing it right. And as far as global warming stuff that I put in another one, I got up this morning and walked outside to drink a cup of coffee. It was 19 degrees, man. I know a few people up north, it's like, that's nothing. We were around short sleeve shirts now. And for down here, yeah, it's 19 degrees. I could have stood a little global warming. But of course, as I grew into a man, like the scripture says, you put away childish things. Santa Claus, Easter Bunny, global warming. Because they all have the same evidence of existence, okay? Trust me. I can almost guarantee you somebody, if they put their mind to it, could come up with a scientific survey to convince you that Santa Claus and Easter Bunny, they're still here. Okay? It'd probably get you to run around willing to pay a bunch of taxes to stop the Santa Claus and Easter Bunny from ever leaving. It's a fairy tale, children. This is not. This is reality. When the geologists say, hey, he about done. It's empty. They've been doing scans of it, and it's about empty. Some areas are so empty, you could run a drill clean to the bottom of it, and you're not going to get it much more than, a day's worth of water out of it. That empty. What used to be an ocean. Isn't that something? Anyway, this went long. Richard Tennessee Homestead. Love you guys, and I appreciate you. Don't forget to ring the notification bell, and please do subscribe. It really does help. It does. Gets my things moved up a little bit. I do, before I leave, got to tell you that talk I did on Virginia. Yeah. You believe that thing was demonetized for 2 days? The first 2 days it came out, they had it listed demonetized. Now, what was in that video that would be all that bad? But that's the 2 days you get the most views. Okay? So they demonetized it. I thought, these guys are just getting a bit... No wonder everybody's running to Patreon and membership things and all this kind of stuff, because these guys just jerk you around, man. And that was not a controversial video. Keep that in mind, but do read the notification bell, because it seems like sometimes they forget to notify you guys, unless you just virtually always recheck your subscription and your ring the notification bell. Subscriptions are up now. To all you new folks, thank you and welcome. Okay, love you guys and appreciate you, I really do. And water, watch out. There's something to go research a little bit on. It's not pretty. Okay, it's really not. And it can affect you even if you live in the cities. And sooner or later, they're going to figure out a way to get more water to you. And of course, they're going to tax you when they do it. Okay, and charge you for it. Y'all have a great day. Hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful week. We'll talk to you soon.